Hi, everybody, and welcome to Spark TO. This is the Spark the Change Toronto podcast that focuses on Spark the Change Toronto. Kind of a cool title. All ties together. And one thing I discovered, just had the pleasure of talking to Sue Johnston, who's part of the core organizing team for Spark the Change Toronto, and said to myself, Elizabeth, you will remember to introduce yourself. And then, of course, jumped right in, and she had to put up your introduce yourself card. It's all well and good to say something, but if you don't put it into practice, it's not very effective, which kind of ties into the whole Spark the Change team theme. Mm-hmm. So my name is Elizabeth Plouffe, and I am part of the organizing team for Spark the Change Toronto, and have been working with this fellow to, I guess, my left and your right, and doesn't matter. Yeah, I know. Try and organize that for a second. Since 2015. So I am very pleased to welcome once again across the desk, Jason Little.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Crowd goes wild. Jason's a huge hockey fan, so that works out too. I'm surprised you're not wearing a cape. I knew there'd be something. So this is my other one's downstairs, but yeah, that's what's sitting on my desk right now.
Ah, cool.
I know. It's the way it goes. Here we go. We're going to start showing toys to everybody. Oilers! To hear on Facebook all about Jason and the hockey and the bad sucky calls and whatever. So I was going to let Jason introduce himself, but he's not terrific at bragging about himself. So I'm going to read his bio and then we'll brag about him a little bit. So from his site, agilecoach.ca, he says, and I quote, Jason began his career as a web developer when cold fusion roamed the earth. Over the following years, he moved into management, agile coaching, and consulting. The bumps and bruises collected along the way brought him to the realization that helping organizations adopt agile practices was less about the practices and all about the change. In 2008, you're that old, he attended an experiential learning conference about how people experience change, and since then, he's been writing and speaking all over the world about helping organizations discover more effective practices for managing organizational change. He is the author of Lean Change Management, freaking awesome book, by the way, and an international speaker who has spoken all over the world, from Canada, the US, Finland, Germany, Australia, Belgium, and more. Now, I guess we could go into the more another time, but so welcome.
Thank you.
And now I got to flick to the real website. So there we go. Now we're all up. So Sue talked a little bit about the process of bringing Spark the Change, which originated in England in 2014, over to Canada. So I would love to hear I don't know that we've ever really talked about that, have we?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. So tell me what the catalyst was for you.
I remember telling the story a few times, but I was just, I think around that time, I just grown tired of the usual status quo conferences. They were all discipline focused. And for me, they'd gotten to a point of more or less being like a coping mechanism. So especially the Agile ones, you go to an Agile conference to reinforce that you're not crazy and it's all the idiots that you work with and your clients are stupid and the people, they don't know how to do this and they don't know how to be Agile. And
sounds very positive.
Yeah. And seeing people, seeing project managers go to Agile conferences and basically just being treated like crap, like they're stupid and they don't know anything. And having those people come up to me saying, why are these people just bashing everything and everybody in this place? And it just drove me nuts. So I wanted to figure out there's got to be a way to create a better experience that's not about a discipline or a practice or a set of tools. Right. And I came across Spark the Change, which was created by Paul Dalman-Darrell in the UK. Mm-hmm. And it had the exact messaging and vibe for something I wanted to do. So I had met him a bunch of years earlier, oddly enough, at one of the big Agile conferences. And it just said, hey, can I take all this stuff and run one in Toronto? And he said, sure, go for it. And
they were incredibly giving, phenomenally giving.
Yeah. I remember I was in Sean Button, who's another one of the organizers, and Mike Edwards, who was organizing for the first couple of years. We were in Mike's truck driving to a client site, a big telecom, and I'm in the back seat chatting with Paul on Skype about the first Spark. And it just went from there. It was, hey, do you want to try and organize something like this to a bunch of people? And they all went, sure. And then remember I posted on a forum, say, so how do we do an event? and then somebody recommended, oh, you should call Elizabeth up. So I called you up, and then we got together for coffee, and there you go.
And there we go. So 2015.
Yes. Yeah.
I still remember that meeting. We were at Artisanos, Trafalgar in Iroquois.
Yep.
And I think I just mentioned this in the podcast with Sue, but I asked Jason, I think a year or two later, I asked you for a testimonial. Mm-hmm. And then I said, so why did you hire me? And he's like, because you said the F word. And I went, I'm not sure that I can use that as the recommendation thing. But it was, I don't know a lot of event coordinators, I got to be honest with you. But I have attended a lot of events. So I have training in this, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. And Sue and I were touching on it before we started talking, and we didn't bring it in. And I was having much the same experience as you, that I was attending events, getting really annoyed because once you know the background of how an event is created, your tolerance for bullshit at other events drops dramatically. Mm-hmm. And for ineptitudes and for bad pricing and for bad food and all the rest of it. So I was really ready to work with somebody who was like, yeah, let's focus on making it the best customer service experience possible mm-hmm. within what we could do. And I think that first year, we absolutely knocked it out of the park for the very first time, all of us working together and trying to bring this new mm-hmm. concept. And the feedback wall was crammed, which was awesome. And I mean, shameless plug there, but it's that dedication that the entire team brings to making sure that we've all gone to enough sucky events. Yeah. I mean, we all know. Mm-hmm. We all know.
And that's how it evolved. It was, we want to build an event that we would want to go to. So, people think, well, you run an event, you need sponsors. Well, no, you don't. Spark's been self-funded from day one. We've never had paid sponsors ever, and we never will. Mm-hmm. And the whole point is they just become a place for people to sell stuff. So a lot of the frustration with conferences that I went to is they become too sponsor focused. And it's just a bunch of consultants there trying to sell each other stuff. And that's not what we want. I think the first year we got a lot of consultants, and then they realized that they can't sell their stuff there. And then very few consultants come back. We get people in organizations that want to make positive change, and not so much consultants that want to sell their method or their certification.
Yeah, it's not that kind of networking event.
Yeah, and everybody knows that goes on, and everybody says, well, it's a necessary evil, and we have to do the sponsor booth dinner and all this stuff, and they complain about it, and we just chose, well, let's stop complaining about it and do something about it and take action, which was really cool. And we keep it small. A lot of the events that I see, success equals growth. Well, I mean, anybody could put on an Agile event anywhere and sell 1,000 tickets. It's pretty easy nowadays because it's top of mind for everybody. Mm-hmm. We don't want that. We want it small so people can connect with people. There's no stage, so it's not like, look at these larger than life speakers. We get great speakers. Mm-hmm. It's just a different vibe, more intimate, more focused on people that want to make positive
change.
Is sort of driving.
Going a little robot-y there. I'm not sure what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, and here's the cool thing. So for Ron last year, so for the first two, we were at the Science Center. And the interesting thing was that we were in talks for probably 2 months about trying to find a venue. And the team had really specific ideas about what they wanted. And it had to have enough space for movement and flexibility. And it had to have good parking. And it had to have this. But like any event, you're constrained by budget. Mm-hmm. And so I went a little outside the box and took Jason on a little field trip. And we went and visited the Science Center. And initially, the core team's reaction to the Science Center was, what? And I said, let's just give it a shot. And I still remember that day walking in with you, and you took one look around and you went, I'm in. Mm-hmm. This is it. And I said, love that. Here's the pragmatic event coordinator in me. I said, I do need to show you one more space before we sign on the dotted line. And you're like, yeah, no, I'm good. And I'm like, which I love, but we're just going to go see the other space too. Yep. And the Science Center has just been a phenomenal way to bring this event to Toronto,
Mhm.
which we've loved. And I had a really good point a second ago, and it's gone. So I'm hoping it comes back.
It has the right vibe. It's not a beige, windowless conference
No,
room.
gorgeous space.
Yeah.
And we're really lucky. And we've got some new stuff coming up this year. And the cool thing about having it back, so if you're coming back, thank you so much and welcome. It's not going to be exactly the same as it's been before, which is the great thing about having it at the same space every year, is that we now have that flexibility and that fluidity to try things. We know what the Science Center will allow, and they've been amazing at allowing us to do some pretty odd things.
Mhm.
And we're able to let go of those logistics and focus on more interesting stuff. And one thing I was saying to Sue is that the whole team is so dedicated to going to different events. How much influence would you say that has on choosing the speakers, for an example? And I know you just said that going to sucky events, but how in a positive way, going to all these events that you guys have to go to? I mean, we're going to touch briefly on the fact that you leave for Finland again on Sunday. So how does that influence the decisions that we end up making?
I think because we have a diverse enough group that's helping organize that, we know a lot of people. And because we go to a lot of events, we find a lot of speakers who just haven't had a voice or a platform yet. Because there's so many, there's tens of thousands of fantastic speakers all over the world that just haven't been given a chance and a platform, because they don't have 12 books and a big name and a huge following and stuff like this, but they're
Which
awesome.
Doesn't always guarantee
No, not at all. But so many people fit into the vibe of Spark because they're not locked into like a single discipline. So there's no one-dimensional, I only do agile stuff, or I only do change stuff, or I only do HR stuff. They know that real change happens in the white space, and they align with the messaging, and they're pretty engaging as well. So it's a lot of audience interactive stuff. I don't think we've had very few speakers that just do a talk. There's always some type of participation or audience.
Has that ever happened? I don't know that that's ever really happened.
Probably a couple, but it's definitely
that's by accident.
Yeah, it's definitely more of an intimate, informal vibe, you know.
Which I remembered my point.
Yeah.
So last year, at ROM, we ended up having to have a stage just because of the way the room was laid out, and we wanted to try like a TED Talk T-style format. And the interesting thing was, if we go back and look at the video, the number of times the speakers actually went off the stage.
Yeah.
They spent more time off the stage than on the stage because Mark, having a brain fart.
Bowden.
Thank you. Was incredible. And so was Adriana. Nick, all of them were. So I think we're doing better off this year to not have a stage because they're in the audience, they're talking to you directly, they're engaging with you. And that's one of the cool things about keeping the event. It's only 130 tickets, 130 tickets. I think you just froze. We keep the number intentionally small because it allows for that intimacy. It allows for that connection. You cannot get trapped on your phone, sitting at the back and being sort of anonymous and stuck on it. I mean, the number of computers that we see up during the event, I keep an eye. I'm watching you.
Yeah.
And very, very rare that you see people with their laptop up. In a bigger conference, this sounds awful, but you can get away with that. You can get away with attending, but not really participating and learning. And we don't let you get away with that because we put 7 months into creating an event. It's not an ego thing. We want to make sure that you get so many nuggets out of it. I think Adriana made me cry last year, didn't she? Somebody made me cry.
Yep.
In a positive way. Just because you will finally hear what you've been waiting to hear. If you're an employee, you will finally hear what you've been waiting to hear for 10 years, that you're not crazy, that it's not you, it's the organization. And you'll finally get a tool that you can either take back to your organization and share, or that you can use in your own space to make working for that organization better for you, which is kind of one of the goals. I'm going to read, I did on the other one, but in case you don't listen to Sue and I. So this year, the theme is constructive connection, building a resilient organization through networking. And it's not a cheesy networking event that we're doing, but networking just happens. In our increasingly volatile and ambiguous world, encouraging the best from employees is more important than ever. Spark is devoted to making your organization a dynamic, happy place to work, from delivering fast innovation to growing high-performance teams through inspiring leadership. This is the 4th year for Spark the Change in Canada. It started when a group of colleagues, apparently in the back of a pickup truck, and you can insert banjo music here, wanted a way to link people working for organizational change in different parts of the workplace. Now, it's an international movement with 2018 Spark events in London, the Netherlands, India, Australia, and Montreal, and of course, Toronto. And that all grew from one guy's idea in England that you then took, which I think embraces the whole Spark phenomenon right there.
Yep. Because that's how it works. The whole idea with the building resiliency through networks is that's how change works. Change works when I want to do something and I know Biff in this other department because we play hockey together.
Okay, McFly.
So I walk over and take Biff out for coffee and say, you know what, I have this idea, but I don't know what to do. And then Biff goes, oh, I know a guy or I know a gal, and let's go have coffee with them. That's how change doesn't happen when we have this little loopy diagram and you know, a phased-based method and a change resistance mitigation strategy and all this crap.
That was fancy language.
Yeah, but we just get so locked into, well, we have to be professional and we have to have a method and rules to follow and process and stuff. And change in our companies works exactly the same way as it does in society. If you don't like something in your town, what do? You find other homeowners in the area that feel the same and you lobby City Hall. Yeah. You do follow a process, so to speak, but it starts with people first, the people who care enough to take action. And then the movement happens or it doesn't. It doesn't happen because the governance document said thou shalt do whatever. So we wanted the event to follow that same kind of vibe, because there's so many people in companies that feel stuck and they don't know what to do. They might feel powerless or it's too big of a problem. And if they get one little nugget that they can go back with and just, insert a little intervention, because I talk about this a lot, they're in it for the long haul. And a lot of the times, as a consultant coming in from the outside, I might be there for 2 weeks, a week, a month, 3 months. My urgency is different because I have to prove I can do all the BS that I said I could. Right?
Wait for a professional plug there. So Jason basically pushes BS, but anyway.
Yeah. All consultants do to a certain degree, right? We can't go in and say, hey, you're going to hire 5 of our coaches and spend $14 million and be agile after a year. It's just stupid. It doesn't work that way. But the people in companies, they can try and experiment and wait a few months and see what happens and try to find other people to talk to and try to figure out how to virally spread the change. So the audience was always people in it for the long haul, not, and us consultants have a bit of shiny object disease too. We tend to try to find the next big thing to make ourselves marketable. Yeah. It's the nature of consulting, right? It's been that way for forever. Yeah. But, so if we can capture that vibe and that essence of how change really works, then people will feel a little bit better about how they can move things forward.
Well, the reality of change, I think one of the things that social media and online and what have you is it's given a shiny veneer to change. And you see these overnight success stories, when Silicon Valley was going through the huge, not renaissance, but the huge development. And you see during the dot-com boom, right, these Mark Zuckerbergs and whoever predated him, everybody got this shiny version of what success looked like and how fast it happens. And I keep using air quotes because when you start reading and you start learning about the reality behind that, like right, so just finished reading this. Awesome book. And he's an exception, not a rule. He's an incredibly hardworking, generous, nice man who focuses on people. But people look at Richard Branson now and think, that was a blip. He did it in a year. No, the man worked his tail off. And he created innovation and disruption and change. And you need to be realistic about how long that will take and the effort that's required. And you can't give up. And I think that's what ends up happening is that organizations, full disclosure, and I said this in the other one, I have no agile background. He is my agile background. Sue is my agile background. Sean, Joanne, Andrew, Hazel, they're all my agile background. But I have been an employee, and I have been an employee in a sucky organization that made me feel like crap about myself because I didn't like their process, and not in the selfish way, they didn't communicate the way I needed them to. And I didn't have the tools to change how I communicated to make that better. And so I went through being an employee and thinking I was an idiot for years until I met Jason and until I met the Spark team and until that very first Spark where I met all these incredible people who were like, no, it's not you. It's not you. It might be a little bit you because I have a filter issue and a very small empathy button, but no, organizations inherently are not set up to succeed in that capacity. And that's what these guys do. And it's been my mission. There's my dog coming down to be all tippy-tappy. How are you doing? It's been my mission to get this team in front of the microphone and the camera to show you just the level of expertise and excellence that's behind bringing Spark the Change Toronto to bear. It's an incredible bunch of people.
Yeah, and we haven't. I think this is the first year there was something up on the website about it because it wasn't the point about who's organizing or behind it. It was the ideas should stand on their own. And I remember we had one person who emailed asking who the organizers were, and I replied with, "If you knew, would it make you more likely or less likely to attend?"
That's true because there's a bias there.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever told him. And people will go, well, what an asshole. Why would he respond like that? Well, the ideas are the ideas. If you're only going to go somewhere because you can schmooze with somebody or sell something, it's not what we want at our event. We want, change makers who want to leave a dent in the world and leave it better than how they found it. So that's what
you guys are. And that's, and it's not absolutely, this is not an ego trip. This is not a, look who we are, shiny, shiny, yay. If that were the case, we would have done it in the first year. It's been me sort of tirelessly begging them to please share your story.
Yeah.
And please show, who the faces are behind this. And I shared this with Sue, and I think, you and I have talked about it before, that first Spark. I couldn't take my t-shirt off. Walked up to you at the event. And we had this little like boohoo cry moment. And because that can happen. Last year, Sammy Paju, and darn it, my notes are still somewhere, but he said something that just completely blew me away. And I wrote it I got to find my notebook because I wrote it in huge letters because it was such an aha moment. And you will have those. If you're not, the only way you can't have an aha moment during this event is if your nose is buried on your phone or on your laptop and you are not paying attention. It's as straight as that. That's the only way you can walk away from this without something. Because our speakers are so committed to giving you, I'm getting a little evangelical here, but they're just awesome people. And they're just committed to giving you shit that you can use. I don't know. Am I done? I think I'm done. So I'm going to flip over the program for just a second. We touched briefly on day 1 with Sue. So day 2, it's happening June 7th and 8th at the Science Center in Toronto. Tickets are still available. I think we are 90% sold out.
Yeah, there's 20 seats left.
20. Ooh! So, if you want your ticket, you need to visit sparkthechange.ca. There's areas all over it to visit the registration page, and the pricing changes soon.
It just did.
You missed it.
Today's the 15th, right? Yeah.
So as of tonight or as of now?
Actually, it should be as of midnight tonight. The early majority expires.
So we should probably push this one out faster than Sue's. Just say, hey, girlfriend. Oh, that's my thing telling me to be quiet now. But visit. Like you say, the food dudes are being our caterers this year. We have Espresso Bella coming in to do handcrafted lattes and what have you, which sounds really fancy, but that's because Jason really wanted to have lattes all day at the event.
Frappuccinos.
Cappuccinos.
Yes.
Because that's on caffeine is a good idea.
Yes. Life's too short for bad coffee.
That's true. That is true. Although we have had decent coffee in the past, but just not great. This year it's gonna be great. The last piece I wanted to touch on, and I should have brought it up earlier, is we have a new thing this year called the Emerging Speaker. And we started out with the Spark Award first year. And Dave Dame was our incredible speaker for the second year, and it was Imperfect Feet was his talk, which was amazing. And the website's being ridiculous. But can you just tell us quickly about Stuart and his talk and how that came about?
Sure. We have always had first or second time speakers at Spark, but we really haven't made a big deal about it. But this year is where it's now become a category. So people who want to become speakers, they want an audience that they can speak in front of and ask for feedback from. So it's the way it's going to work is he's going to have feedback cards at tables. So he's going to do a talk on multiple intelligence theory. And ask people for feedback, so how he can improve as a speaker. He's done this talk, I think, once before. So the rules of the program is, you have to have less than 3 live speaking appearances, and you have to be willing to collect feedback, and you choose whether or not you want it to be public or private. So feedback cards on the tables or a big visible feedback wall. With what people thought about the talk and the style and stuff like that. Yeah, I saw it freeze a little bit.
So if you want to check out Stuart's profile on the sparkthechange.ca website under speakers, he's at the very bottom, but he's last but not least. Currently an agile coach with CGI and works within the financial industry at one of the 2 banks in Canada. For more than 8 years now, Stuart has been on an agile journey to help software teams become better at what they do. Oh, that's awesome. Stuart's an agile team coach, lean practitioner, and agile trainer. This is going to yell at me again. That is exploring ways of helping teams deliver valuable product to our customers. So he comes to us from being a project manager, teacher. Oh, very cool. An armored crewman with the Canadian Armed Forces Reserve. So he will kick your ass if you do not give feedback. And it looks like he could probably do that. So by leveraging this experience, Stuart has been bringing change for the better to the teams he works with. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm excited about that. We don't have to salute him or anything, do we?
Maybe.
Ooh, that could be a thing. Maybe we introduce him with like the Canadian military theme or something. We'll figure something out. So thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Oh, you know what? I'm going to lie. Sorry. I need 30 seconds. If you want to learn more about Jason and what he does and what he offers and his books and his amazing things, his Lean Change Management book was the first book on Agile and Change I'd ever read, and I actually understood it. So, and I saw it it's a terrific thing. If you want to learn more about Agile and Change and have it make sense to you, if you have no background like I didn't, it's a fantastic book. You can visit leanchange.org, and on there it shows his conferences coming up. Is that correct? No.
Just events all over the world that are happening.
Okay, and then I'm going to click here because that's what I do. Oh, and then you've got a little video now. Oh, you didn't have that before for your book. Very cool. It's honestly fantastic. Not just because I know him and he's a great guy. It really is a good book. So go and check it out, or you can fly to Finland. Not on WestJet apparently, but I don't know if WestJet goes that far, does it?
No, I don't think they go off the continent, do they?
I don't know. They took me to Vegas. Yay.
They still owe me $600, so I'm mad at them.
WestJet Smackdown. Not today. Jason is our amazing writer who puts out the newsletters and blog posts. So you can check those out at SparkConf. I'm going to have to spell it out. Spark, CONFTO. Goes out through our Twitter channel, and it's supposed to be on our website somewhere, but who knows? It's better to check it out on Twitter. But he provides terrific updates and profiles about our speakers and everything that's exciting and coming up. And any parting words, Yoda? When's lunch? No, that's it. All right.
Nope.
No more wise words from Jason.
No wise words today.
We're tapping out.
Need more coffee.
June 7th and 8th, you can get fancy lattes and cappuccinos.
Mm.
Come and see us. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate it. And we hope we see you at the Science Center in June. Bye-bye. You can say bye.
Bye.